There's 700 horses of man and machine. They're 4 wide. Green flag, showtime. The Knoxville Nationals are green.
It is Sunday night racing in the Coast to Coast Racing League. I am Travis Piercefield, and Coast to Coast Racing Network welcomes you to the Extreme E Speed TV Pro Late Model Division here for another Sunday night of racing. Tonight coming from Lucas Oil Speedway in Wheatland, Missouri, as we welcome you to the C2C Racing Network pre-race show. Come out and join us on the Coast to Coast Racing Network on YouTube and click subscribe to catch all the Coast to Coast Racing League action. Join us for Sunday's Sunday night as you are here with me for the Extreme E Speed TV Dirt Pro Late Models. Of course, Monday Night Madness tomorrow with Marty and the SJRN for the Open 358 Rebels and Renegades action. As we look at those Sim Racer Hub standings here for the Pro Late Models, it's Trevor Giroux, your points leader, coming into tonight. Brett Walsh second, Kurt Schatzer third, Stephen Bixler in fourth, and Clayton Clewell in the fifth position. Picking up wins the first 4 weeks, Clayton Clewell, Brandon Templeton, Patrick Spangler, and Joseph Grandy. Of course, if you tuned in last Sunday, you saw Patrick Spangler grab a great victory and a tight racing battle the final few laps to claim the victory with the Pro Late Models here, as we see cars on the track getting ready for this Pro Late Model division here as a part of our Sunday night racing action. As you see, Brian Dickens out on the track along with Kurt Schatzer in that 218 machine. As we wait for that midget division to complete their racing action here tonight, we'll move on to this pro late model division here shortly. Of course, Slide Job Racing Network also brings all the dirt modified action on Thursday Night Thunder. Make sure you click subscribe and you'll get notified by clicking that little bell on YouTube whenever racing action goes live. Of course, you can be a part of the Extreme E-Speed TV Coast to Coast Racing League. If you are looking for other racers that enjoy racing without the drama and name calling of iRacing, come out and join the Extreme E-Speed TV Coast to Coast Racing League. We have 17 divisions that race 5 days a week and currently broadcast 6 divisions. Members know that they are a part of something bigger than just on-track experience. Go to c2crl.com and click apply to join the racing action. The cars are virtual, the racing is real. Of course, joining me as always, or usual now here on Sunday nights, we've got Zach Shaggy Chapman. Zach, we come here to Lucas Oil tonight. Should be another good week of pro late model racing action.
Yeah, it will be. And, you're going to see this driver count increase. We were in a dirt midget race that literally just got over. That's why I was a little late here, Travis. Sorry. But I imagine the field's going to start to climb in. Here at Lucas Oil, anything over about 12 cars. This thing's a small track. I-55 here. It is hard to pass here, so it's going to be a tough race here tonight.
So seeing Brian Dickens, see John Hine join the group as well as we wait, as we had mid-teens car count last week, looking for some more this week here, as it's Trevor Giroux fastest here during this practice session. 3 cars been on the track. It's Trevor Giroux, Brian Dickens, and Kurt Schatzer. And last week we saw Trevor really dominate a majority of that race that we had at Lernerville, Shaggy. Wasn't able to pick it up as Patrick Spangler made the move for the victory. Any surprises maybe tonight that could come away with a victory?
Yeah, this is a track that, a bottom feeder may pan out here. And a guy really good at that is that 32, Anthony Morano. This maybe isn't his favorite car, but the guy just understands tracks and, has line discipline almost in anything he's in. So I'd keep an eye out on that 32 for a surprise. And, also here, not really a surprise, Travis, but John Hine. He's had a lot of bad luck, and, man, that 71's due for something.
So he is out there right now on with that 71 Bass Pro Shops. As you can see, Steve Maurer, Terry Landis, Brandon Dittmer, Clay Christopherson all have now entered the picture here to get out on the track here during this practice session as cars continue to make their way around. As always, whenever we come here to Lucas Oil, Shaggy, you've got that shelf over there in 1 and 2 that if you get too high, it'll pull you up there towards that wall.
Yeah, with the way it flattens out here, I don't know why I retracted myself earlier when I said Lucas Oil and said I-55. I could have swore I read it, just a error on my part. But, yeah, that shelf, if you get the right rear over it, it's just like the suspension drops out and all the weight shifts. The weight starts to transfer to that right front. And when it does that, too much, even more so than entering the corner, it's just you lose all the balance and it sucks you off. There's nothing you can really do at that point but back out of the throttle, go over the hill a little bit, and then collect it before you get in the wall.
So more cars out on the track. Anthony Morano now out there in his 32 machine. As you mentioned, he's someone that we've seen perform really well in the Pro Late Models, the spring season. Of course, he was very dominant, and now coming into the summer looking to pick up right where he left off. So it looks like we have 12 cars, a dozen cars now here entering the picture for this race here tonight, as Trevor Giroux still setting the pace, and it's been fun to watch Trevor, Shaggy. I remember when he kind of entered the league in the Pro Late Models, made a mark quickly and then kind of fell middle of the pack, and then now here this summer he's been a dominant car every track we've gone to.
Yeah, I mean, not that's not a shot at Trevor either, what you said. I mean, we're in the middle of the pack here is pretty impressive. And in some of these series, I mean, it's not that hard to, if, a team figures out a little throttle control trick, or, maybe there's a little trick riding the brake a little bit on entry going in this update. All that stuff fluctuates, and you're going to see the good guys fall, you're going to see mid-pack guys rise. And, we kind of saw that in the sprint cars the last 2 seasons. Vanderbilt in the sprint cars, Travis, they used to dominate. Steven Goldner, Jesse Bandy, and, they really kind of fell off. And this year, they've kind of gotten back in tune with the new update. And, I mean, they're right back on the top where they should be.
As you see more and more cars out there on the track, Terry Landis out there, there's Bob DeGood now out on the track. 8 cars. Now 10 cars have made it out onto the track, including that 31 of Brandon Templeton. And that's a driver, Shaggy, that any given night he could have that 31 at the front of the pack.
Yeah, Brandon Templeton, what was it, on Hometown Hero night, I believe. He got the sweep there in the sprint cars. I mean, totally different thing, but he's another one like Anthony Morano. I mean, we just ran a dirt midgets race, and I mean, the guy hug the bottom like no other. He just understands cars, and I mean, where the dominant lines are at tracks. And this is another one you see. He's practicing the bottom right now as Brandon Templeton, just working it in. Maybe not as fast as he'd like, but he can put that car wherever he needs to go win a race.
See Steven Bixler out there in the 75 making his rounds now. As we're up to about 10 cars on the track, 13 cars in the pit area. It's still Trevor Giroux. He's made 65 laps, so he bypassed your midget race, Zach, and he's been out here on the track at Lucas Oil. When you've ran that many laps, or even Dickens or Schatzer that's ran 40, is that a benefit, or can you run too many laps practicing for a night of racing?
I mean, if you're out of shape like me, Travis, you can definitely run too many laps. I mean, my arms are tired after like the 30 laps in practice and then the 30-lap midget feature. So if he didn't run that, luckily, but putting in all this time, I mean, I guess every lap, definitely helps you. Track time is always important. But, from when he jumped on in this session, this track is totally different here with all the laps that everybody's done. And, I mean, nothing really carries over. You just got to make sure you're on the track right when they transfer into qualifying. That's when you want to be out there. You want to know what you're up for.
So cars are on the track as we prepare for this Extreme E-Speed TV Sunday's Sunday night racing action here for the Pro Late Models coming from Lucas Oil Speedway tonight. Of course, we'll move on to qualifying here shortly. Before we head on into those heat races, of course, setting the field for tonight's 30-lap feature event. As 12 cars out there on the track now, Jeff Barker's entering the track as well, as we'll look at those best times over to the left of where they're running currently. And from your experience here at Lucas Oil with the Pro Late Model, Zach, what should we expect from top to bottom racing?
I imagine, we're going to see kind of that slider line look to be the fastest in qualifying, maybe lap number 2, or you might see guys just commit themselves to the top. I don't think the bottom is there yet, speed-wise. I mean, you're going to have to go down there to make a pass. You'll have to find a way to get it done, maybe get the elbows wide on exit and pinch the guy, up over the ledge there. But in qualifying, I think we're going to see guys stick to the high side for now.
Well, cars continue to make their way around the track here. And you can see them from top to bottom. There's Steven Bixler running that middle line through 1 and 2. And when you're looking at passing opportunities, Zach, where's the best chance to try to make a pass and move up through the field?
I mean, realistically here, it's going to be on corner entry. Unless the guy in front of you is already running the bottom, then you'll have a little more speed than him on exit. But I imagine we're going to see a lot of sliders here tonight. It's going to be hard to complete a pass on the bottom as long as the top's going fast with all the momentum they have. So if we see the top go away here, we might see a little middle-bottom racing, and that could be interesting here if the middle of the track rubbers up and turns fast, which sometimes happens here at Lucas Oil, especially coming out of 3 and 4. So we'll have to keep an eye on where those guys are finding their speed.
You can see 13 cars with times in there, from Trevor Giroux at the top to Stephen Bixler and Steve Maurer down there at the bottom. There's still 3 cars, which it looks like 2 of them, Joseph Grandy and Randy Shreves, about to make their way out onto the track now. So everyone getting out there onto the track here in this practice session before we get them lined up and ready to go for qualifying.
It looks like we're going to roll into qualifying here. I think they just advanced for us, Travis. So those guys, they aren't going to get any practice.
Yeah, it's Randy Shreves, Joseph Grandy, and Brandon Dittmer, the 3 that did not make it out onto the track during that practice session. And just like that, we'll go into qualifying. Who, for qualifying session here, Shaggy, who do you look for being speed when it matters here to set this heat field?
I don't think it even matters that he didn't get a practice lap. I think the 518 is going to take the pole here.
We'll take a look at Joseph Grandy as you see him out on the track.
I mean, no practice, smooth on the top in 1 and 2. I mean, what more can you ask for? Carrying a lot of speed through 3 and 4. This should be a good lap. Yeah, 1481, 2/10 faster than Brandon Templeton. That's a big time lap there by 100 grand.
For analysis by Zach Shaggy Chapman tonight. As you see, Walsh second there, Trevor Giroux third fastest. As you see, Brett Walsh. Oh!
Ooh, Superman Kurt Schatzer taking the pole over there on his final lap. You know, you don't see many guys improve on that second lap. That's a big time showing from Kurt Schatzer there.
And just edging by 1/100th of a second over Joseph Grandy. We'll give Kurt Schatzer our quick time tonight. He must have heard you pick Grandy and saw the lap he put down, and the old guard of Kurt Schatzer proving that late model still that 218's territory. As you see, Brett Walsh finishing up his lap. John Hine also finishing up as he'll pull into the pit area. And with that, qualifying will be done. All cars. Brandon Dittmer, who didn't make it out for practice, also did not make it out for a qualifying run.
And I saw him added to the list here. I don't see him. I wonder if Dan McLaren's good. Nope, he didn't register in time. He registered as a spectator. Darn, I thought we were going to get one more here quick.
Well, and with that, we're going to head out to Gambler Motorsports Heat Race number 1, Shaggy, and I think you've got our starting lineup.
Yeah, starting on the pole, we've got the 31 of Brandon Templeton, and his outside, the Professor, John Hine. Inside of row number 2, you've got the 520 of Brett Walsh, and his outside, the man who got quick time tonight, Superman, in the 218, Kurt Schatzer. Jeff Barker's going to roll off on the inside of P3, and is outside the 56 of Randy Shreves. And rounding out the field tonight in heat number 1, we've got the Desert Demon, Terry Landis, in the 161, and his outside. And I don't think Steve Maurer made the call, actually, here. Or maybe he did? Yeah, he did. In the 888, Steve Maurer. My fault, Steve.
So 8 cars in this one. That means we'll have 2 heat races here to set that field for that feature event. And with just 2 heat races, obviously, going to split the field there, but you got to look at that front row, and then Schatzer there on the outside of row number 2. Some fast cars here at the front of this one, Shaggy.
Yeah, I'm glad I don't find myself in this one. That newcomer, Brett Walsh, man, the hitman, he's no slouch either. So, 4 guys here. I mean, Jeff Barker's a bottom feeder. He could find his way up into the top 3 here. This is going to be a hell of a heat race number 1.
Well, it's going to kick off our night of pro late model racing action. They'll come through 3 and 4 with that Stephen King Foundation pace truck pulled off. It's Templeton and Hine taking us to green here at Lucas Oil.
Yeah, the 71 going to go Hine handsome here, looking for the big run out of 2, and the 31 didn't shut the door. That's going to give Hine, it looks like, the lead here coming out of 4.
Schatzer's going to look to the outside of the 31 as well. He'll pull up alongside for second as it's Hine out front. Schatzer trying to make his way into that second position.
Yeah, Superman's got the cape blowing in the wind up there, but that 31, he knows he needs to get up there, and here he comes. He's going to shut the door, and now the Hitman's going to look low here for P3.
Brett Walsh and the 218 make slight contact there as he'll slide up in front of Templeton. Templeton has to check up. He'll fall back to fourth as now it's Walsh in second.
Yeah, Brett Walsh with the 2 for 1 there, 1 and 2 and all. He's not going to check up. He's going to do the Superman a little dirty there. Going to give him a shot in the middle of the corner, and I'll tell you what, Travis, he's going to remember that one.
Templeton has some damage to his left front as he rides in the third spot. Schatzer now trying to work around Shreves, who moved up into fourth, as now Schatzer's able to regain that fourth position. Out front with 2 to go, it's John Hine.
Yeah, you know, John Hine looks to have this locked up, but I'll tell you what, I don't know if I want to be Brett Walsh right now. You got a guy who you parked the slider on right behind you, and then a guy who you shoved when he threw a slider on you, so he better hope he keeps the door shut, doesn't let that 31 on by here.
Final lap around Lucas Oil in heat race number 1. It's John Hine out front. He is going to claim victory out of turn number 4. Second will go to Brett Walsh. Templeton third. Schatzer in fourth.
Yeah, and see Schatzer, he may go voices of, I think we heard him rev the motor there. He may have voiced his opinions a little bit coming out of turn 2, but he's definitely going to remember that car, that's for sure.
Well, we will move on to Regency Home Inspections heat race number 2, and they're going to line up like this.
Yeah, starting on the pole, we've got the Ant-Man, Anthony Morano, in the 32, and is outside the 122 of Brian Dickens. Inside of row number 2, we've got the Canadian Trevor Giroux, and is outside $100,000, Joseph Grandy. Inside of row number 3, we've got the 051 of Clay Christopherson, and is outside in the 7, Bob DeGood. Running out the field tonight in the 75, we have Steven Bixler and Brandon Templeton. No qualifying, but he is going to make the grid here.
He'll skip practice, skip qualifying, go straight to the heat. Before we wrap up heat race number 1 there, with that contact and that battle we saw there for the second position, Zach, how does that carry over to that 30-lap feature event?
Well, I mean, you kind of put a target on your back if you're Brett Walsh. You got 2, I mean, Brandon Templeton basically showed him how you got to drive the slider. You don't want to punch the brakes, but that's what you got to do to survive at that point. And, Kurt Schatzer's going to say, hey, man, we did it for you, but I didn't get it back. And he's not going to be very happy about that. So he's definitely going to have a long memory.
And we say all that, Zach, with me knowing in broadcasting races you've been in, a target on your back maybe has been placed by yourself a time or two.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, I've been Brett Walsh more times than I've been Kurt Schatzer or Dittmer in that situation, that's for sure. I've been known to ruffle a few feathers, and it's real easy to sit up here in the booth, and tell you what you should do and know how to not be aggressive. But once you get in that car, man, it's hard to turn it off once that visor's down.
Well, we're about to put the visors down, get back to racing action. It's Regency Home Inspection, heat race number 2, Morano Dickens bringing us back to green. 8 more laps here at Lucas Oil.
And Anthony Morano's on heat race number 1. He knows if he wants to hold on this lead, got to hook up out of 1 and 2, and you got to get up high, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Run the bottom in 1 and 2, get up as quick as you can.
So just like Hine, Morano able to jump up front. That battle for second's already heated up as Grandy's following Dickens on that outside around Giroux to the inside.
Yeah, and $100,000's one of those guys. I'll tell you, once that visor's down, that guy, he only knows go. And, man, he may be in 4th place right now, but a heat number 2 win is not out of the question for that 518.
As we're already 4 laps to go, apologies, only 6 laps in these heat races. Here's Grandy, and Dickens make slight contact. That'll lose Grandy's momentum as now Giroux all over the bumper of that 518 going into 3.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those where Grandy, no harm, no foul, just a little contact when the 122 got a little loose, and he's just got to put his head down and get right back to it.
Morano up front by 0.3 of a second over Brian Dickens as they battle for that second spot, and now that 51 of Clay Christopherson in that 5th spot looking on Giroux.
Yeah, and he may be in a prime spot here. As we see the 122 of Brian Dickens, he goes over the shelf. He's going to lose 2 spots, and he may be in the clutches of Clay Christopherson here in 3 and 4.
So Christopherson looking to the inside of 122 now. Is Grandy up there? He's trying to track down Morano as we're final lap. 1 more corner to go for the heat victory.
Yeah, the Ant-Man's going to lock this up, and 100 grand's going to finish P2, and it looks like Trevor Giroux's going to bring home that P3 spot here.
So Anthony Morano will bring home the Regency Home Inspection Heat Race number 2. And while they go to their warm-up session, we'll take a break, and we'll come back with our 30-lap feature event.
Raceway, they're lean, they're mean, they're 700 horses of man and machine. They're 4 wide before they start to slip and slide. Here come the Cool Ray Coast to Coast Racing League Sprint Cars and the Mike Westbrook Memorial for the Knoxville Nationals. Where else would you rather be than right here, right now? Green, Spangler, green flag, showtime, the Knoxville Nationals are green. The Coast to Coast Racing League, in partnership with Dylan Westbrook Racing and Malcolm's Mills Mill Ready, are proud to present the 5th annual Mike Westbrook Memorial Knoxville Nationals for the Steve King Foundation. July 22nd to July 25th, 4 days of Knoxville action using the actual Knoxville Nationals point system. Over $500 in payouts as well as loads of door prizes. $15 for Coast to Coast members. $20 for non-Coast to Coast members with a max I rating of 3,000. All registration fees go directly to the Steve King Foundation. Feel free to donate more. Open setup 360s with all races at the Knoxville Raceway. The event will be open to the first 100 drivers. All races will be broadcasted on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. For more info, log on to www.c2crl.com. It's showtime!
And with that, welcome back to Lucas Oil Speedway as our warm-up session coming to an end. Zach, we're about to head out there for 30 laps. Who should be watching, and what could happen with 30 laps around this Lucas Oil Speedway?
I mean, you know, I said a guy who's hungry and a guy who's had some bad luck. That's 71 of John Hine. It's real easy to pick the pole sitter, but another guy you also got to watch out for. I'm telling you, that 518 of Joseph Grandy, he is quick, and he is going to be on a mission here.
Well, with that, we will take a look at those RSN trackside starting lineup.
Yeah, starting on the pole, we've got the Professor John Hine, and is outside the Ant-Man, Anthony Morano. Inside of row number 2, we've got the Hitman, Brett Walsh, and is outside 100 grand, Joseph Grandy. Inside of row number 3, the 31 of Brandon Templeton, and is outside the Canadian, Trevor Giroux. Superman Kurt Schatzer is going to roll off on the inside of row number 4 and is outside the 122 of Brian Dickens. Randy Shreves is going to roll off P9 into his outside. In the 051, we've got Clay Christopherson. Inside of row number 6, you've got the 513 of Jeffrey Barker, the Brewerton Beast, into his outside, the Mayor, Steven Bixler. Inside of row number 7, you've got the Desert Demon in the 161, Old Smoky, Terry Landis. To his outside, the Spider Monkey, Brandon Dittmer. Rounding out the field tonight, we've got the 888 of Steve Maurer into his outside, the 7 of Bob DeGood.
So they are behind that Stephen King Foundation pace car as we get ready to go. You know, looking at that lineup, you've got Schatzer back there in the pack a little bit, Brett Walsh right back there by him, Randy Shreves, Brandon Dittmer. Some of those cars, and we saw it happen last week on Sunday night, Shaggy. Some of those cars at the back, they're going to make their way to the front eventually.
Oh, yeah, and, you know, talking about Brett Walsh being at the back, not sure if maybe he asked for an EOL, but I saw he was issued a penalty, so Brett Walsh is going to start in the back of the field here. Not sure what that's about.
Well, 30 laps from Lucas Oil Speedway about to go underway. It's John Hine, Anthony Morano taking us to green.
Yeah, John Hine knows. He's the one who took advantage of it in heat number 1. You got to get up to the high side, but he may have slid a little too much and opened the door here for the 31 of Brandon Templeton. Can he throw a big slider in 3 and 4?
He'll slide up in front of Morano, but not Hine, as Hine will hold on to the lead. Morano gets out of sorts down the front stretch. He'll hold on, and just like that, Schatzer's the 4th car in that outside line.
Yeah, and we got a wreck coming out of 4. We got cars around here. We got Clay Christopherson, and, man, we got a mess in 1 and 2.
So that will bring up our first caution of the night.
Yeah, it looked like, oh, man, that was crazy. Barker did a pretty good job of avoiding Clay there. I thought Barker started that, but Clay pretty much got into the 122 and those boys by himself here. They slowed up a little in front of him, but 51 started it, and he's going to pay the price here.
You see Dickens was involved in that as well. From our Malcolm Mills mill writing replay. So we'll have our first Flatline Racing Bodies restart zone and green flag as we get ready to go back to racing action. It's John Hine out front.
And this is where, you know, I don't have any experience being up front, Travis. I'm anxious to see in these things if John wants the high side here or if he thinks he can get a good jump on the bottom and all the tack that's left coming out of 3 and 4 and have enough time to slide up in front of the 31 of Brandon Templeton. But really got to keep your eye out on this 518 here if John Hine picks the bottom. Actually, it looks like we're going single file here.
So not messing around, single file here on lap number 3 as the Stephen King Foundation pace car jumps on off. Grandy's in that 3rd position as he's up in front of Anthony Morano now. Schatzer into the top 5 behind him. As John Hine brings us back, green flag waves, we're back to racing action.
And John Hine with an ideal start here, able to run whatever line he chooses. And Brandon Templeton, he's going to ride the rim here and try to go to work. Meanwhile, the Ant-Man, Anthony Morano, he's trying to make the bottom work here for the final spot on the podium.
Watching from that Chapman drone shot up ahead as the caution flag will come out again.
Yeah, Jeff Barker.
And the 52, it looks like Walsh was also involved in that one. A lot of damage to that 520 machine.
Yeah, you're right. The 520 came up in front of the 888 of Steve Maurer, and that's how Barker got involved, actually. Yeah, and then Barker got punted from the 122 of Brian Dickens, nowhere they could go, and that tore up a lot of race cars.
So, shaking up that lineup here early in this one with a couple larger wrecks from a car count standpoint. And we'll see how it shakes out. Brandon Templeton up 3 spots as now he's in that 2nd position behind John Hine.
I mean, I talked about it a little bit here when you brought me on. You know, it's just a small little bull ring track. And, I mean, if you want to make a pass, then you got to get your elbows up. And that's what we saw Brett Walsh try to do there. He tried to shut the door and just force his way in over the 888. But if the guy up top doesn't back out, it's so hard to complete the pass on the bottom. It's going to be tough here. And, you know, these guys are only going to get feistier as we run out of laps.
We're 3 laps into this 30-lap feature here. John Hine getting ready to take us back. Single file restart here for another Flatline Racing Bodies green flag. Templeton all over his back. Green flag waves. John Hine takes us back. Randy already looking to the inside of Templeton by the time they go off into 1.
Yeah, 100 grand hooking up on the bottom, and Anthony Morano trying to do the same, but it's just not there right now. you're going to have to figure out a way by on the top. You either got to give the guy the bumper a little bit, make him uncomfortable, but it's going to be so hard to get anything done on the bottom. But Brandon Templeton's going to give it a try here.
He'll fall back behind that 71 as they head off into turn number 3 here. Also, the thing here, with it being the size that it is in Lucas Oil, can you talk about the momentum of going into the corner? We've already seen where guys have had to check up just because guys have different momentum or pitches going that slow their cars down through the corner.
Yeah, I mean, if you get a little sideways on entry, the guys behind you really got to check up. Or, same on exit, and we're seeing it happen a little bit right now to Anthony Morano. Joseph Grandy's having to check up, which in turn, Anthony's having to really adjust and, get a little squirrely. But it's always, you like that advantage. You get to see where the guys in front of you are quicker than you and where they're messing up. But once you get there, Travis, it's so hard to pass.
Quickly down to 23 laps to go now with our longest green flag run of the night. And you can see from second on back, Templeton, Morano, Grandy all moving all over the track, trying to find something to try to move up towards that 71 and battle for the lead. Is now Morano looking to the inside of Grandy.
Yeah, we'll see him look here, but we'll have to see him and Joseph Grandy when they've been running the bottom. They've been using the whole track, Travis. They get to float up to the wall. And that's the difference. They're hanging with these front two when they can run the whole track. But when you got to pinch yourself down off corner exit, it's so hard to keep up that momentum that you talked about. And it's so important here.
So you can see John Hine leads with 20 laps to go. Grandy Morano still playing cat and mouse back there for that third position. Trevor Giroux now moved into that 5th spot, just ahead of Kurt Schatzer and Randy Shreves.
Yeah, and looking at just the way guys are driving right now, you got to think that 32 has the most speed out of anyone, but it's just so hard to get it done. But he's going to send it in here, Travis. Little contact. 100 grand's going to get in the wall because of it, and man, he's going to be seeing red here.
So John Hine, Templeton, Morano, your top 3. Joseph Grandy now riding in that 4th spot as he's got a gap back to Trevor Giroux. Schatzer, Shreves, Landis, Christofferson, and Dittmer, your top 10.
Yeah, and right now, Brendan Templeton, these guys, I don't care what they say, Travis, they got the mirrors on. I'll fight it till the death. Everyone runs with a mirror. You're allowed. It's an advantage. He's going to see, now this caution, too. There it goes. I mean, he had to go to work on John Hine before he had that 32 right behind him, but now, different story here. Caution's out.
As you see, Bixler was already in the wall there, up in 3 and 4. And then, tried to make it down into the infield as he'll make it across there. Also looks like Brandon Dittmer was involved in some way. And we made it to the halfway mark here, Shaggy. It's Hine, Templeton, Morano, Grandy, your top 4.
Yeah, and like you say, it's easy to pick the guy up front, man, but you got to stick that way right now. John Hine, it's where you want to be. The 32 is going to go to work on the 31. Those guys are going to battle hard, and while they do, you've got to run your own line, keep your eyes down and out of that mirror, and just go run qualifying laps. You got to build up as big of a gap as you can because this 32 is fast, and he's coming.
Well, we are about to watch as it's going to be a 15-lap shootout here on this latest Flatline Racing Body's green flag.
Really surprised, too, and this is no shade at him, but, man, Kurt Schatzer, we saw that quick pole time, and you see how hard it is to pass here. Travis started 7th. He's only up 1 spot. It's just not easy to get by your fellow competitor tonight.
No, but looking at our Flatline Racing Body's hard charger, right now it is Terry Landis. He is up 5 spots, so a good run for him as that Stephen King Foundation pace car heads on off. And we're going to go back to green. So John Hine up against that wall out of turn number 4. Green flag waves back to racing action. Templeton with Morano all over the back of him as Joseph Grandy will stay outside through 1 and 2. Templeton looking to the inside of the 71.
Yeah, Brandon was sniffing there on that restart, too. He wanted John to go earlier, and John held him up, man. He's like, no, I want you two to duke it out. I don't want you to get any advantage on this 32. And that's exactly what he needed to do. But, man, he got loose in 1 and 2. And here comes the 32.
The 30 to the inside, the 31 all over the back of that 71 as John went into 1 and 2 hard that last lap. Now Grandy to the outside of Murano. This 4-car battle for the lead continues with 13 laps to go.
Yeah, Joseph Grandy's trying to make it 3 wide there. He thought about it, but kind of ran out of room there in the middle going down the backstretch. But he is coming high, 100 grand. Joseph Grandy, he is coming quick, and look at this. The Ant-Man, he fell back to 4th. He might fall back to P5 here if Trevor Giroux has anything to say about it.
Giroux stuck to the outside there as the front 4 all nose to tail in that outside line. Murano's going to have to slide up in 5th in front of Kurt Schatzer as we've got 11 laps to go. John Hine, no time to rest as he's got Templeton and now Grandy in the 3rd spot.
Yeah, he's got 2 feisty hot rods right behind him, and we're coming to 10 to go, Travis, so they're not going to give him any breaks. He's got to be smooth through 1 and 2, and he's got to make sure Brandon Templeton's not able to get that fender. But look at the 518 on the bottom.
You talked about mirror racing, Shaggy. When you're in the lead with 10 laps to go, and in your mirror you've got cars side by side all over the back of you, what's going through your mind as you're trying to claim a victory?
Well, right now, I'll tell you what, this run that they're getting in 1 and 2, that's going to make John nervous. Brandon's going to throw it in here. John's got to counter back. And, oh, man, 100 grand. I think John, okay, he's going to stay up top in 1 and 2. I wish he could hear me. You got to go to the bottom in 1 and 2. That's the quick line, and there goes Joseph Grandy. Here he goes.
He's to the inside. He'll try to slide up in 3 and 4 as he'll slide up across that nose of the 71. 71 won't check up. He'll get out of sorts as now Grandy has the lead. Oh, and Hine hard into that tire in 1 and 2. That will bring out the caution.
Yeah, I think, John's going to be a little upset about that contact going down the backstretch. He's going to feel he was squeezed, and that's probably why he didn't really go for the crossover there in 3 and 4, just trying to rough him up to get back by. And, I mean, any driver would probably do the same thing, but then, just trying to get a little too aggressive going into turn 1 and, maybe got into that touring tire. But, man, we've all been in the shoes of that 71 before, that's for sure. Tough. Dominated this race so far.
So now we'll look to the front, and it looks like it's going to be Grandy, Giroux, Templeton, the front 3, with about 5 laps to go here, Shaggy. What's Grandy going to have to do now to hold on to that first position, especially now seeing where that preferred line through 1 and 2 is?
Yeah, I think he knows. Able to use that to get by John. He's going to run the bottom here, and 1 and 2, he's going to protect against any slider, and as long as he's got enough momentum, we'll go right back to the lip in 3 and 4. I think we've seen that's the quick way around. Might see a little slider line in 3 and 4, but that man, he's not going to give up the bottom in 1 and 2.
So Grandy out front. It will be 6 laps to go, and we get that Flatline Racing Bodies green flag. Couple cautions early in this one. We were able to make it to the halfway mark. We make it another halfway from 15 to go, and now 6 laps around Lucas Oil Speedway will settle this one for the Extreme E-Speed TV Pro Late Model Division here on the Coast to Coast Racing League. As they'll come out of 3 and 4, it's Grandy, your control car. Green flag waves at Lucas Oil.
We'll have to see what the Canadian has in store, if he's got anything to throw at the 518, but he's going to go a little too high in 1 and 2. He's going to go over the shelf. Big run, though.
Murano
3 wide.
Murano's the one to the inside. Templeton was the middle of that sandwich as they'll get it sorted out. Giroux will come out on top, and now Schatzer's looking to battle for that 3rd spot.
Yeah, he's looking in the middle there, 3, almost 4 wide in the middle of 1 and 2, but Joseph Grandy, he loves this. He's looking up in the mirror, smiling. He's just been able to walk away.
So Giroux in 2nd, trying to trace down Grandy, but it really starts from that 3rd position on back. Templeton, Murano, Schatzer, and Shreves now up there as well, as Schatzer's trying to use that outside line. Murano in the middle, he'll slide up. That'll open the door for Schatzer and Shreves.
Yeah, they're going to make contact going down the front stretch here. They're both going to swing it back in, and no room for Anthony to counter back.
Christofferson will take advantage of this as he'll move to the inside of Murano in that 51 machine. And now it's a 4-car battle for the 4th spot.
And the 218 of Kurt Schatzer had to get on the binders there as he got in the back of Clay Christofferson. He really paid the price.
So things will quiet down for a moment as Grandy will take the white flag. He's got a 2.5 seconds on Trevor Giroux in 2nd. Down the backstretch for the final time, off into 3 and 4. Joseph Grandy, 2 seconds, going to coast to victory here at Lucas Oil. Trevor Giroux second, Templeton third, Shreves in fourth.
Yeah, Joseph Grandy just found the line at the right time there through 1 and 2, and man, he made it work.
Well, your Flatline Racing Body's hard charger is going to be Randy Shreves, up 5 spots into a 4th place finish, as Grandy, Giroux, Templeton all set to join us up here in the booth. And the last 2 weeks of Sunday night pro late model action, Shaggy, plenty to be happy about as a race fan and watching these cars do battle.
Yeah, and what's a race without a little drama, too? You want some carryover, and, we're going to have some guys who definitely are a little frustrated with each other going into next week, and, it's a good thing we got the Knoxville Nationals coming up here soon. That'll calm everybody down, Travis.
Well, we will head down to Extreme E-Speed TV Victory Lane, as it looks like you've got our 3rd place finisher, the 31 of Brandon Templeton.
Well, Brandon, man, eventful race, dude. Did you think you were going to be able to finish on the podium after all the action?
No, not really. I kind of thought I had damage. I think I just maybe got overzealous and spun the tires there the last restart or something. There's a lap or so I was off the pace, and then I kind of got back going. But no, it was a good race. Grandy found the spot when when it was there, and Hein and I were kind of battling, and he was losing the handling just a little bit on the high side, and it was getting slick, so it was starting to cause everybody to hunt around, and it made it a kind of a fun race. But yeah, there was plenty of excitement there those last 10 or so laps for sure.
Yeah, we could see John getting a little loose there in 1 and 2 especially, and, you happened to crack the throttle and be patient. Was it just a case of, maybe you weren't aggressive enough to try 1 and 2? And, we know how aggressive Joseph Grandy can be. It's just, him trying the bottom just paid off at the right time.
Yeah, a little bit of that, and a little bit of the cautions came in at the wrong time. There was one point where I think I had kind of closed the gap and was up on him and thinking about moves, and the caution came out. But overall, John did everything he had to do, and, whatever happened there at the end, I didn't see it too clear from my vantage point, but it was good racing from my view.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, too, because you took the words out of my mouth. I said that. Right when that caution came out, that's exactly not what you wanted. You were just getting the Hein into that, where maybe you could throw a slider on him territory. And, with Joseph Grandy in 3rd, able to just suck right up on you guys, that pretty much took the chance to be aggressive, right out the window. But, hey, all in all, Brandon, 31 back on the podium, man. It's got to feel good. Let's hear those sponsors.
Yeah, I got to thank Jay with Dirt Track Bank and Malvern Bank there in Malvern, Iowa, helping us out, quite a bit. So thanks to them. Got Your Six Racing Network, Mission 22, Joe Halter, Kurt Schatzer, Brian Dickens, Hammer Down Racing, everybody helping out with the league, Extreme E-Speed, all the sponsors that help out, with all the other divisions. Every little bit's awesome, and come check out the Knoxville Nationals.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that, Brandon. Hell of a job tonight, and we're looking forward to many more of these.
Thanks.
As now we'll talk to our 2nd place finisher, it's Trevor Giroux. Trevor, you go from 6 to 2nd. Walk us through your battle here at Lucas Oil to a 2nd place finish.
Yeah, it was a good race. Wasn't particularly happy with the track. It's if you could make the bottom work, it's I guess good for you. But I wasn't. I saw a couple guys trying it down there, and I just said I'm not even gonna bother. So it was just follow the car in front of you on the top and hope the guys in front of you tried the bottom, and you could get runs on the top, and that's basically what happened here. I think B-Tempe went up the track or went up the edge there, and I was able to take advantage of that, and then Anthony was running the bottom, took advantage of that, so didn't have the greatest car. I guess just luck was in my favor tonight. I got doored 2 laps in. I don't know what that was about, but car didn't feel right after that, so we'll definitely take a 2nd.
As you mentioned, you kind of were just riding up top there, and as others were trying to find something or would make an effort to move up through the field, you'd jump on it and take advantage of it. As you go through 30 laps of that, kind of a more conservative approach, waiting for the others to make a move, and then you pounce. What kind of mindset do you have to have, and how patient do you have to be to make that work?
Yeah, you definitely have to be patient because, you go 15, 20 laps through the race, and then it's just follow the leader up top, and you're like, I was in sixth or fifth, whatever it was, and you're thinking like, okay, well now I'm just gonna settle in and hope for a top five or hope someone wrecks or whatever the case may be, and that it's you're just trying to hit your marks up top, and then all of a sudden guys are tired of it and they try something else, and then it's like, okay, it didn't work, so I got the run, I'm going to take it, and hopefully they don't squeeze you. And, I've been racing with Anthony for a long time, so I knew he wasn't going to squeeze me or nothing like that. So, yeah, it's definitely a game of patience at a track like this. Like, I love this track. It's one of my favorite tracks. I just kind of wish it was more two lanes. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't, but that's racing. I mean, you're never going to get the same track night in, night out.
We talked about how last Sunday you had a really good car, maybe didn't come away with the finish that you expected. To be able to come back and bounce back with a second place finish, how does that make you feel when you look in the scheme of things for the season of being able to just have a fast car each and every Sunday night?
Yeah, it's nice. That incident with John last week, I was a little mad in the moment, but I reached out to John and we talked it over, and watching the replay a couple times, it was definitely my fault. So I reached out to him and we talked it over and had a good chat about it. So we're all good there, and sucks to see what happened to him there. But I don't know, Travis. I'm kind of getting tired of these podiums. I need a win here. So hopefully one of these weeks here. I mean, obviously I'm thankful to have a fast car every Sunday and have the luck on my side so far this season. But man, we need a win here.
Well, if you keep knocking, that door is going to eventually open for you in that 75 at some point. With that being said, who are those people and those sponsors you want to give a shout out to tonight?
Yeah, I just got to thank all the guys at Venom for the support. I mean, I feel like my skills in the race car here have definitely I've improved after joining these guys. I mean, I probably turned I don't even know 300-400 laps this week prepping for this race, and with some of them guys, and just going over some things that I could do better, and so that stuff helps. And yeah, just got to thank everyone at C2C for everything they do for us here. This is a great league to be in, and it's like I said before, I got to get that win, and it's been a while. So, but it's one of those leagues where it's when you win, it feels damn good. So, gotta thank them. Gotta thank you guys for the broadcast. I love having you and Shaggy, and you guys do a great job. Gotta thank JRB Designs for this beautiful car. Gotta thank my wife Sam, my buddy Caleb who was watching, Trent. He's part of Venom. He couldn't make it tonight, so thank you. Thanks to all of them who make this possible.
Well, congratulations. That is Trevor Giroux, our second place finisher tonight. And now I'll throw it over to Extreme Speed TV Victory Lane, where Shaggy, you've got Joseph Grandy.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, $100,000, man. Dude, able to secure it. How's it feel?
It feels all right. Track seemed pretty tied down for the most part, and had to pull some stuff to try to pass people, or they had to mess up.
Yeah, I'm even John's teammate here, Joe. You know that, but I think when he gets a chance to calm down, he'll see that you kind of, you had a lot of pace, dude, and that slide was kind of what you had to do. I mean, he gave up the bottom on 1 and 2, and talk to us about it. Did you know that was going to be there, or did you just go searching and then all of a sudden you found it?
I saw there was a little bit of tackiness there in the middle, and tried it once, and I ended up gaining ground, I think on Morano maybe. And as far as that slider goes, I knew he seemed pretty a little upset about that. I went back to look at the replay, and it wasn't dirty. It wasn't as good as I wanted it to be, but he could let off.
Yeah, no, product of the track.
Yeah.
I know kind of one of them where you got to go underneath there. And, we saw Brandon Templeton do it earlier. And, we saw Brett Walsh, lay the fender to Kurt Schatzer like John did there. So that's just kind of...
around the other feet, it would have been the same thing. So,
Yeah, it's just, kind of is what it is, man. Running hard there for the win. And, hey, man, you had enough to get it done. And memory serves me right, that's like 2 for you here this season, so that's a pretty good start here. But, man, you got a lot of sponsors on that thing. Who you want to thank?
Catalytic Recovery, West End Tone and Repair, Highline Photography, all the guys over at Front of Motorsports, my beautiful girlfriend Olivia for letting me do this. appreciate everyone at Coast to Coast and you guys for doing the broadcast.
Well, good job tonight, Joe, and man, we're looking forward to a lot more of these.
Thanks, man.
Well, just like that, Shaggy, another Sunday night of racing complete here on the Coast to Coast Racing League Network. And Shaggy, I don't know if people have noticed, but it's a great league and division to watch here on Sunday night, but also a fun one to race in. So we got up to 16, maybe some more cars as we move forward throughout the season for plenty of great racing action here with the Pro Late Models.
Yeah, I mean, always good racing, and I mean, you know, another normal regular. We have Steven Spees. He couldn't make it tonight. He dinner with the wife. We know how that goes, but you know, yeah, definitely can't wait till these things get up to 20-car fields again.
Well, as always, thank you for tuning in to Coast Racing Network. I am Travis Pearsall with Extreme E-Speed TV, joined by with Zach Shaggy Chapman. We say good night, and we will see you at the racetrack soon.